guys, it's ADRIA. So today's video is going to be a bit more serious, but I did want to make this video just as kind of a lesson and sort of, I don't know, because I know there's a lot of younger girls that look up to me and take advice from me about life and relationships and boys and stuff like that. So believe me, I wasn't really ever going to talk about this because this isn't something that I really like sharing. I mean, even people in my real life, I've only ever told Brandon about this and my sisters about this briefly. I didn't really even tell them the full story, but this little story today is going to be about a boyfriend of mine that took advantage of me and did things with me that I did not want him to do. I wanted to put this out there just so other people can learn from it. You know, if you're younger or if you haven't started dating yet, or maybe you just started dating and you want some dating advice. And while this is something serious, I probably will find myself making jokes about it because that's really just what I do. Where a lot of people will be like, you know, why are you joking about this? Why are you laughing about this? It's not really that funny, but to me it's like, you know, it's all over, it's in the past, it's whatever, so I'm just gonna move on from it. This was my first boyfriend. I recently told the story about my first kiss and everything, so this is the same guy as my first kiss and everything. I don't even care if he ever sees this video. I don't care if he knows who he is and he's watching this, you know. I hope he knows that he did something wrong and that he crossed the line. You know, and a lot of people say to me, like in my video where I talked about like breaking up with a guy at prom, they were like, oh, well, like that was your fault, blah, blah, blah. Like people always like to put the blame on me and like I was the bad guy in it. This was the one situation where I blamed myself for the longest time and I thought that it was my fault. And I just wasn't a good girlfriend. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. So for a while, I blamed it on myself. And even a lot of things that happened in past relationships, I really took the blame for everything. Like from my family, I kind of told the story in a way that made it seem like I was the bad guy a lot of the time to kind of take the blow away from them. And I don't know why I've done that. I really don't know why. When, you know, these guys have hurt me and, you know, caused me all this like grief, I took all the, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have said that, blah, 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 just to kind of defend them. But anyway, so this was the first guy I ever dated. I think I was 16 at the time. It was, we started dating like at the end of summer. It was like summer break, and then we ended up breaking up like around Christmas time. So the whole fall season-ish we dated. And so like I said in my first kiss video, like we walked to a park for our first kiss. I was like where our first kiss was and everything. Then after that he would like invite me to come over and stuff like that, and I was perfectly fine with that. This was when I was in alternative school, so I didn't have a whole ton of friends, so I really was kind of lonely. I mean, the year before I had done online school and everything, so this was a point in my life where I was really secluded and I really didn't have a whole lot of people my age to interact with. I didn't feel comfortable opening up myself. So for me, because it was hard for me to make friends, like having a boyfriend for me was easy, and I feel like that's why I really had a boyfriend from like 16 to 18. I just like constantly had a boyfriend because like I said, for me having a boyfriend almost felt easier than having like girlfriends. So like I said, he would invite me over and, you know, we would play Wii and stuff with his sisters, and I would have to be home by a certain time. I think it was like 9 o'clock or 9:30. I had to be home. You know, sometimes my mom would pick me up, sometimes his mom would take me home. It started to get really weird because he started wanting to take walks when it got dark, and like I don't know about you guys, but to me that's just not something I was ever really okay with. I never, you know, was really allowed to go outside when it was dark. I mean, like as a kid, you know, it's like you come inside when the street lights come on and stuff. I never really felt comfortable going outside when it was dark. But like I said, he was my first boyfriend, so I kind of just went along with whatever he said because I didn't really know. If it's like your first relationship, you might be like, oh, this is probably normal, I'm probably supposed to do this. Let me just say, if you're not comfortable going anywhere with somebody, you should not go, period. You know, whether you're dating them, whether you're your friend, if they want to take you somewhere and you don't want to go, like don't go, girl. Like it's pretty obvious. You know, so we would go walk to this park, and really the only reason he would want to go there is to make out. And you know, I've said in my past videos like, oh, like I don't mind making out, blah blah blah. He made me very uncomfortable because he really didn't talk to me a whole lot, and I'm a person that I am very reassured through dialogue. I need that audio, and I feel like a lot of women operate through audio response. You know what I mean? I've heard that. I've heard that girls really kind of work that way, where girls like need you to talk to them, but he really just did not talk a whole lot. It was weird. Like, he kept his words very brief, very short. He didn't speak a whole lot. I mean, like I said in my other video, he didn't even call me on the phone ever. It was very odd. So he would want to go to this playground just to make out with me, basically, and I would have rather stayed at the house and played Wii, to be perfectly honest. To me, it just wasn't a necessity for a relationship. I just didn't need that. Like, to me, I'd rather be with his family and like playing Wii and, you know, not be outside in the dark at a playground at night. Like, that's just kind of weird to me. So I wasn't like, woo, like, let's go, but I wasn't like, no. I was kind of like 50-50, you know, half of me was freaked out, half of me was like, okay, let's go. So, you know, like, we would just make out and stuff, and then we would leave. I remember where it kind of changed. One time he was at my house, and we were in my basement, okay? And, like, my mom, my nana, they don't know about this, but you know what? Like, I'm just spilling the tea, because this ex, it's like, this has stuck with me to this day, where this just upsets me, and I never told anybody about it, but you know what? Like, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm just gonna, like, you know, talk about this, because I feel like stuff like this is important to talk about. And we were in my basement, like, we would play Wii, because I had a Wii too, so, you know, we'd play Wii at his house or at my house. I don't know, like, he was very weird about, like, oh, if I win this game, like, you have to make out with me. Like, stuff like that, like, just very weird. Where, you know, like, if you're in, like, a good, healthy, normal relationship, like, that might be, like, whatever. Like, oh, he's trying to be cute. But to me, it just struck me as weird. So he was like, okay, well, if I win this next game, it was literally super monkey ball. He's like, if I win this next game, you have to make out with me. So then, you know, he won, and so then he was, like, making out with me, and he put his hand on my chest. I remember just feeling like so freaked out. I was just like, wait, what? Because let me just say, I was probably the most sheltered kid ever. Like, I just didn't know like what anything was. I don't know, like, I would hear kids at school like talk about stuff, and I would just be so confused, because I'd be like, what the heck are they even talking about? You know, I didn't even really know the F word until I was in like middle school. Like, I did not know about stuff like that. So anything sexual like that, or like making out, or like intimacy, I just did not know about it. I didn't know that touching boobs was a thing. I didn't. And you know, I was naive. I think naive is a good word for this, because I was just completely oblivious to it. I didn't know that that was a thing that girls liked or guys liked. I didn't know. So when he did that, I was just kind of like, wait, like, what is he doing? But I just did not like it. And I remember when he left, I just kind of like was sitting there, and I'm just like, I felt like I did something wrong, and I was like, like, I didn't want to tell anybody because I felt guilty about it, and I was like, okay, I'll probably get in trouble, honestly, if I tell somebody about this. So then I went away for a week. We went away because my brother was in the army, and we were going to like his army graduation, so we went away for a week. So I was away from him, and that was the last time I saw him before we left. And I was just like, and I kind of just like through that week was like trying to like process things. I guess gathered in my mind that I guess that was normal for a relationship, and that's how it was supposed to be. And I just was, you know, like, this is my fault. It's my fault that I feel this way. He's doing what's normal for a relationship. I guess I'm just the one that, you know, is being a baby about it or whatever. I don't know, I guess I was just trying to analyze it and be like, you know, why do I feel this way? Is he wrong? Am I wrong? Should I feel this way? Should I get over it? Should I break up with him? But like, when you have your first relationship, you seem blinded by everything, really, because it's the first person to really like pay attention to you and like have an interest in you, and so you really justify just about anything. You know, I guess just young love in general, you kind of just justify everything. You know, they could like call you a bitch and you justify it somehow, like, oh, they were just mad, blah blah blah. So I was just justifying it, like, oh, it's my fault, you know. But then when I got back from my week trip, it was kind of an emotional week for me too, because my brother was in the army, and you know, he was away from home, and I didn't know when I was gonna get to see him again. So I was really kind of on an emotional teeter-totter, as it is. I mean, if you have anyone in your family in the military, you can probably relate to where you feel like, I don't know when I'll see them again, I'm sad, blah blah blah. You just feel vulnerable, and I feel like this kid kind of took advantage of that. Then the next time I went to his house, he wanted to take the usual walk to the park when it was dark. It was never in the daylight. I feel like I should just add that. It was never like during the day. I mean, I would go over there at like 3, 4 in the afternoon, and he wouldn't want to go then. It would only be at night. It's like, why can't we just go walk to the park and then come back here? Because it wasn't about that. It was about making out and, you know, getting to bases for him, really. So I remembered what had happened at my house where like he touched my chest and I didn't like it, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So I told him that I didn't want to go. I was like, I just want to stay here. Can we stay here? Can we play Wii? I started like saying like, oh, it's too cold outside, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't listen to that. He didn't listen to that. Like, I straight up told him like, oh, it's kind of chilly out tonight. You know when you just try to make up a reason why you don't want to do something? Like, oh, if a friend invites you out, like, oh, I'm too tired. You know what I mean? When you're just trying to like, dude, like literally, I just don't want to do this. Let me have my reason for not wanting to go. So I was like, no, like, let's just play Wii. And like his sisters were like, yeah, like just stay here, just play Wii. And I'm like, yeah, like, can we just stay here? And he was like, no, we're going for a walk. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? Like, I knew he wasn't gonna drop it. I knew it wasn't gonna end there. So I just was like, okay, I'll just give in, I'll just go. Where we would make out was we would like climb like to the top of like the playground and stuff, and we just kind of like make out like the top of the playground. And honestly, I don't even like thinking about it. It honestly just creeps me out and grosses me out. I mean, people will be like, you know, why would you do that? Like, why would you kiss him back? Why would you let him? But I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know, because I would go back in time and like just bitch slap my younger self, because like it's just so stupid. And so when we got there, I was just very uncomfortable. I would be kissing him, then I would just kind of like turn my head, and I wouldn't want to. And so he put his hands on my chest again, and I was just like, girl, you know what? And so I'm there with tears running down my face, and I'm just like looking off to the side. So then he takes my hand, like grabs my wrist and forces it down his pants. And I just kind of like froze. I didn't know what to do. And you know, like I said, I mean, I grew up very sheltered. I didn't know about things like that. So I honestly didn't. I'm like, why is my hand in his pants? Why is it, like, I don't understand this. And it freaked me out. And my hand, I just kind of kept it there. My hand was shaking, and I just like kept my hand shaking right now because I'm even talking about this. And I just kind of kept my hand there, and I was just like quiet, and I just kept it there, and I eventually pulled it out. I mean, my hand was probably there for maybe like a minute. It really wasn't all that long. But I feel like that happened on more than one occasion. I don't think it was just that one time. Like, a lot of this honestly is a blur to me. You know, my brain is probably like, please forget this. Like, this is so like, That first time that happened, my mom came to pick me up, and I just remember feeling so incredibly guilty. And I felt so just like stupid, like I had done something so incredibly wrong. You know, like I may have gotten myself in that situation. I went with him and whatever, but him putting hands in spot, like I didn't want that. You know, like for me, like, oh, like I can go kiss you out under the stars, whatever, like, but I mean, I didn't even really like kissing him all that much, to be honest. Like, he had a swamp mouth, but I just wasn't fine with that. I didn't understand really like sexual things like that. So for me, I was just freaked out by it. So this was a time in my life where I skipped a lot of school. School was always kind of bad for me with like attendance and like, you know, with mental health things. And so, you know, but my mom, she never babied me. My mom always put her foot down and was like making me go to school, but I like just was crying my eyes out. I just felt so incredibly I don't even know the word. I just felt scared and confused and just like trying to process everything, but feeling like I couldn't tell my mom or else I would get in trouble. Feeling like I just had like this burden on my shoulders and trying to understand what had happened and like what he was trying to do. And my mom asked me like why I was crying, and I just said, I'm afraid to go to school tomorrow. I'm just really anxious about school tomorrow. It was so bad that my mom was like, well, then you can take a day if you need to. Like, and my mom never said that. I think this was like the one time in my entire school life that she let me off and was like, okay, then you can take a break and stay home if you need to. I don't even know why I feel like crying, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I mean, I guess just sharing this, you know, publicly, but I just feel like it's so important. Don't let anybody make you feel that way. Don't let anybody confuse you. Don't let anybody make you feel like you've done something wrong. You know, and I eventually did break up with him for that reason, because it continued on. I didn't know how to, like, again, I blame myself. I, you know, was like, oh, well, this is normal for a relationship. This is just my fault. And so I just let it go on. And I remember one time it happened, you know, it eventually got to the point where his hands were under my shirt, and I'd be sitting there crying, and like he wouldn't even ask me why I'm crying or anything. He just wouldn't care. I remember one time we walked to the park, and this is where I tried to put my foot down, and it just it didn't matter. You know, like I said before, I mean, I told him like, no, I don't want to go for a walk, and he just like, it didn't matter to him. So there was one time we got to the park, you know, I was trying to make it so that we wouldn't go on the playground. So I was like going on the swings and stuff, and I was just kind of like hanging out, and I was like, you know, if I just stay down here, we can't make out. Then he was like, oh, like, let's play truth or dare. I'm like, okay, so I'll just like dare him to like go climb up a tree. So I literally dared him to go climb a tree, you know, because I was literally just like, you know, like please leave. So we were playing truth or dare. I was like, I dare you to climb a tree. He's like, I'm not gonna climb that tree, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like daring me to like go on the playground and make out with him. And this, that's just the kind of person that he was. And I don't even know if he meant this maliciously. I mean, again, we were only like 16. I don't know what his thought process was. I'm lucky it only got to that, you know, length to where, you know, it was just hands, thankfully. And he would try to reach down into my pants, and like I would just kind of like nudge away, like, because that was just like, no. Like, no. I mean, back then I was never the person to say no. I just didn't know how to. I mean, when I went to alternative school, when they gave me like a they give you like an evaluation when you first go to alternative school to kind of see like what it is you need to work on while you're there, and they said for me the number one thing was accommodating for myself. And I think to this day, that is the number one thing I struggle with. I am so bad at like being like, I need help. I'm so bad at being like saying no to people. I'm so bad at expressing opinions to people or expressing like concerns to people. I'm so incredibly bad at that. This was the time it really bit me in the butt, because, you know, if you can't speak up and tell somebody to F off and get off of you, you know, you will end up in situations like that. And I never told my family or anything about this. I never told them. I mean, I just recently told my sisters, and they were just like, what? Like, they just couldn't believe it. You know, whenever they would bring him up, it would just upset me so much, because I would just want to blurt out like what he did, and I just couldn't. So I was just afraid of getting in trouble. Like, why would you get yourself into that, Adria, and all the blame coming back to me? So I just didn't say anything. And you know, that was rough. That was rough, and it was hard to even really talk about this. I mean, I feel like I can't really breathe right now, but I just want you guys to be so incredibly careful, and do not be afraid to tell somebody no, or to stop, or to get away from you, or to break up with them. Don't be afraid to do that. And I don't even know what I would call this, because I mean, even still, I still blame a lot of myself for it, even though I would be sitting there crying and like trying to like, you know, pull my hand away and things like that. I just didn't know how to physically bring myself to say no. But once I was in the situation, once it was happening, it's almost like my brain went blank, and I just didn't know what to say. Like, that really affected me, and that, you know, it's made it hard for me to be vulnerable with people, be close to people, because I have that in the back of my mind, kind of. But again, I haven't let it hold me back. You know, if you're new here, like, I am engaged, I have a fiance. You know, I don't let it dictate how I feel about relationships or guys or anything like that. I try not to let it be a weight on me. While it's something that is bad and just kind of like gross and weird, I'm just like, you know what? It's in my past, and it doesn't have to affect how I live now, and it doesn't have to happen again. I won't let it happen again. And, you know, that took years of growth and maturity. I mean, I didn't think I would ever be making a video about this, just in fear of people I know watching this. I have a sweat mustache. Oh, little girl. I thought this was something I would take to my grave. I think it's important to talk about things like this and let people know that things like this happen, but we just have to learn to speak up about it, because I really wish I would have told my mom. I would have handled it so differently, being the person I am now, and with, you know, what I want for myself now. I definitely wouldn't have let that happen today. So I hope you guys enjoy. I don't know if you would enjoy a story like this necessarily, but I hope that you guys got something out of this at least, and maybe learned a little something about me. You know, we live and we learn, and we find people that are better than that. And, you know, I could have closed myself off forever and not wanted to ever meet any guy ever again, but I didn't let that happen. You know, I just want to learn from things like this. I just want to teach, you know, anybody out there watching this who may need some advice, maybe something similar is happening to you or has happened to you. You know, sometimes it's just nice to hear that you're not alone and that it's okay and you can get over this little hill in your life. Okay. So if you haven't already subscribed, you can hit the subscribe button down below. I put out videos 3 times a week. They're not always this doomy and gloomy vibed. So that was my story about a boyfriend that took advantage of me, and I think I included everything. I think that's really it. But yeah, I will see you guys again real soon. Until then, panda hugs. I love you guys. Bye.